So I would like to call our esteemed speakers for the panel discussion. Now I would like to call Mr. Sanjay Chugh, City Head and Director of Anara Consultant. Welcome, sir. Please give a big round of applause to all the dignitaries. Now, second speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Neeraj, Sublog founder and CEO of Noisy Box. And another speaker, Mr. R. Sivaramakrishnan, co-founder of Sincere Syndications. And the next speaker, Mr. C.A. Selvakumar, Managing Partner of SSRR and Associates. Welcome all.
Once again, good evening. Okay, so since the time is pressing, we'll have a short panel discussion, maybe next half an hour. So we have four panelists with us, Mr. Sanjay, Mr. Neeraj, Mr. Sivaramakrishnan and Mr. Selva. So it's a good mix of panelists. So I will start with Mr. Sivaramakrishnan. So he's again into fund management. Sir, in terms of the budget, I'm sure we cannot satisfy everyone, correct, right? Now, normally what happens is we always expect that budget should satisfy me or anyone. But normally what happens is it depends on the growth trajectory what we are into, what the state is into and what overall state wants in terms of growth. Yeah. So keeping that in mind, just give your opinion on the budget first, sir. We'll start with opinion. We'll take opinion call from everyone. In terms of budget, how do you see this budget was there?
I think satisfying everybody on a budget is like women cooking and having about 10 people at home, satisfying each one of them at home, right? It's going to be very hard. It's not practically possible to do that. But if you take an unbiased view of things, quite a bit has been done. Let's remember that one of the most industrialized states in India is Tamil Nadu, right? Tamil Nadu has been at the forefront of industry. If you look at the entire gamut of small and medium enterprises across India, Tamil Nadu ranks as number 2 across India. Such is the scale of small and medium enterprises in India. Therefore, has the budget been oriented towards creating more industries, has it been able to achieve, would it be able to achieve more welfare for those industries? The answer is yes. Can something more to be done? I think I will be one among those probably 3 out of 10 who would say probably something more could have been done, right? Definitely something more could have been done. But for what has been done, hats off. I think they have done the job. That's been my opinion. I think we can, as we move along, we can get into more analysis of what.
Yes, yes. Okay, Mr. Sanjay, your opinion on the budget and just a brief about yourself, what you do and in terms of economy, how do you see?
So I come from background of the real estate business. So we have always been looking at this sector, as providing the maximum. I mean, after agriculture, if you look at India, the GDP contribution is from the real estate sector. So we always are looking for a lot more SOPs, whether from financial institutions, from the government. If you look at what happened in the budget, I think it was pretty balanced. A lot of emphasis on creating infrastructure. Obviously, there is going to be a lot more job creation because of the infrastructure growth and development that has been planned, like, Tidal Park, which is coming in tier 2 cities apart from the main city, which is Chennai. I think it's pretty balanced, but like my co-panelist, Mr. Raghman said, we always want more. Dil mange more always. So it's obviously we cannot satisfy everybody, but I think in many ways it has been quite fair and quite satisfying.
Okay, thank you. I just come. Mr. Neeraj, just a background about yourself and just your inputs on the budget. What do you feel the budget
Hi, my name is Neeraj. I'm a founder and CEO of Noisy Box. Noisy Box is a specialty audio tech company. So this budget, according to me, has given entrepreneurs a new hope, a new strive. All these while entrepreneurs in southern part were looked at just the next alternative for people who are not successful in their career. But now looking at this budget and the focus of Startup Tamil Nadu and the entrepreneurs and the budget they've given it for the manufacturing side of it, I think this is a fantastic budget, and this itself has made my pitch more stronger to my investors that now Tamil Nadu is not only being the number 1 in electronics in India, is also going to be the number 1 manufacturing even hardwares of these electronic segments. Thank you.
Thank you. So Selva, just to introduce yourself and your take on the Tamil Nadu budget and since I think you represented the pre-consultation meeting also, you had represented and given your inputs on behalf of FICCI. So just your take on the budget here.
Thank you, Amrith. So, I'm Selva Kumar. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a practicing CA. And my focus, though I'm a practicing CA, my focus is always more on AI related, at least for past 2-3 years. And coming back to the budget, as Amrith said, half an hour before, 2.5 hours of budget. So that shows, a lot of things which they have put the effort they have put and much more to go. And I always feel, small drops makes an ocean, meaning the MSMEs always plays an important role, because even in India, almost 15% of the MSMEs are from Tamil Nadu, and so that has to be much more focused, as people, other panelists says, much more can be done. Though there are startup schemes, a lot of things are going on. I think even in our pre-consultative budget meeting, people are insisting more on much more can be done with respect to startups and initiatives, things like that. So let's see. Hope for the best. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll start with Mr. Sanjay. So first question I wanted to ask you, Mr. Sanjay, was in terms of the real estate overall sector wise, with the metro rail projects connectivity in place, and with the tidal park opening up, and development of tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So I wanted to check with you, how is this metro connection in terms of how fast we get things done vis-a-vis airport coming up. And there are few key infra projects. I think infra is one of the key long-term connect. So people don't see instant benefits. So we believe in setting up the infra and long term reaping the benefits. So just throw some lights in terms of how this budget has helped infra overall sector as such, and how do you see infra in Tamil Nadu in next few years after the connectivity?
So good question. If you see real estate development typically happens when infrastructure develops. When infrastructure develops, there are more jobs created. So, coming to your question on tier 2 cities, wherever there's job creation going to happen, whether it's Trichy, Madurai, Salem, or Coimbatore. So 2 years back or 3 years back, if you went to Coimbatore, you may have found a lot of office space available. Today, when we get demand from occupiers, there is no grade A office space in Coimbatore that a occupier or IT company can take on rent. So the Kudisa Park, the Tidal Park is all full. The second one is coming up now. So there is a clear cut message that the companies which want to invest in Tamil Nadu are looking at Chennai. Apart from Chennai, the smaller cities, because the cost of real estate is much lower, and there is a captive educated workforce which is available to them to be deployed in the sector. That's one. Coming to Chennai, if you look at it, Metro has really made a huge impact. So if you look at especially the residential sector, north of Chennai, which is going to be connected very soon, south of Chennai, which is OMR, all of these areas are very captive in terms of South Chennai at least creates 60% of the residential requirement. The demand for housing is 60%. So in a year, in Chennai, we sell about 20,000 homes. 60% of that is sold in southern part of Chennai because of job creation. Now with Metro coming in, what happens is, today there is a lot of pressure within the city because people do not have a means to travel. So they want to live close to their workspace. But once you have a connectivity right from north, which is coming from Madhavaram up to say OMR, up to Siriseri, you'll see a lot of people moving to the suburban areas to stay where the cost of real estate is much lower. In the city, the land cost is very high, which translates into high property prices, and many people are not able to afford it. So they either go on rent or look at going away to the distant suburbs without infrastructure. With infra coming in, it'll be exactly what happens in Western countries, where people work in the downtown, the city. Say this area is called downtown. Anasala is downtown, Paris is downtown, where people just come to work, but they live on the suburban areas because of quick connectivity. So with Metro Rail coming in phase 2 and the extension that got announced in the budget, I think it's a very positive thing right up to Kilambakam. The new airport that is proposed will also create, the current airport creates about 30,000 jobs. This airport. When the new airport comes, which is going to be double the size, there will be 50,000 people working in the airport itself. So just imagine if it's connected, the kind of demand it will bring in for residential homes, for the retail sector. So social infrastructure will improve with physical infrastructure. So I think we may be among the first cities where before the new airport comes, we'll probably have a metro connected. Whereas if you look at our neighboring cities like Bangalore or even Hyderabad, even to date, the metro is not connected. So people still have to use their personal mobility. But this is going to be a game changer for us. And I think that is where the government is really putting in a lot of stress on developing the social and physical infrastructure in terms of public transport.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay. So when we say infrastructure development, I think we should not just see development of airport per se. The development of airport, the kind of jobs that will bring around, I think we need to look at that as well. So in and around the
so if you see the corridor where the airport is coming, it's on the Bangalore highway, off the highway, and there's going to be a fast track road itself which is going to come in, the corridor which connects the two cities. So that is a plus point. Second thing is, because today once the airport actually goes live, which is starting the work, people will start investing for the future. See, if you look at real estate, typically the returns are on a medium to long term. We don't expect real estate to give you a return instantly. So you buy a property, you buy a land, you buy whatever, from the objective of appreciation, you have to stay invested. Maybe if you're lucky, 5 years. Otherwise, a typical cycle is between 10 to 15 years. And that's what has happened in all the cities where development happened, where new airports opened up. It created a new place for people to go and live, and that appreciated the land value. If you look at OMR, sir, 20 years back, it was not considered an area where people would stay. It was an industrial area, got converted into IT, white collar jobs, not manufacturing so much. If you look at Sriperumbudur and that part of Orogadam, it was all again not fully industrial. It was all outside the city, agricultural land. And in 20 years, the way companies have invested, multinationals, manufacturing plants, look at Chingalpet, Mahindra World City, all these developed satellite townships.
It's all an ecosystem which is being built.
Totally because of the development in industry as well as in white collar jobs.
Understood. Thank you. So we'll move to Mr. Shiva. So my question is in terms of funding. So since you're into funding, with respect to the budget, a lot has been spoken about MSMEs and startups. So in terms of funding as such, or borrowing or debt as such, how do you see the scene in Tamil Nadu, sir? In terms of when a startup or MSME is seeking for funds or borrowing as an option, how easy it is to mobilize funds in. So how do you see this budget? Anything with respect to funding? If you can throw some lights.
We talked about job creation here. I think we need to understand that the development of the economy is not developing the top class of the society. It's about feeding it at the bottom of the society, right? Building strength, building value systems at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, one important thing that I would like to say in the context of funding is that one interesting initiative that the government has launched is to fund an amount of about 20,000 rupees for gig workers, right? Now, just imagine how many, we invested in, as managers of funds, we manage about 1,800 crores of funds, of which we allocate a small percentage towards investing in startups. The larger part of it is invested in public markets. Mr. Sanjay mentioned that we look at doubling money or tripling money in about 5, 10, 15 years time. We look at doubling money every 3 to 4 years because we invest in business. When you invest in business, when you own companies, we would definitely like to double money every 3 to 4 years. When you take that approach, we have invested in a company that runs electric vehicles for Swiggy, Zomatos of the world. Now, interestingly, today in India, there are about 6 crore vehicles running on the streets of India, delivering products and services, right from your FMCG products to salons at home, right, getting transported. Now, just imagine at least 10% of them, none of them own vehicles. Most of them do not own vehicles. Vehicles are supplied, right? The cars are supplied, vehicles are supplied. What if at least 10% of them get to own those vehicles? Would it not be transformation from their own perspectives? Would it not change their lifestyles, right? That's what as Tamil Nadu government is aiming to do by funding this 20,000 rupees to each one of those, many of those gig workers, selected gig workers. It can impact the bottom of the pyramid. Now, coming to the part of funding the small and medium enterprise, I think it's largely a state-related thing. Has been so in the last several years because the government of central government has launched policies relating to funding small and medium enterprises without collaterals, right? We know those PM Yojana schemes that have been running,
CGTMSE
schemes that have been running. They have been largely unsuccessful, to be tell you the truth. We work with almost about 400 to 500 small and medium enterprises in Tamil Nadu, and probably few hundreds of them across different parts of India. In helping them manage their funds and also raise funds. One experience has been that it used to be quite a bit of a disappointment with the CGTMSE scheme, to be blunt. But having said that, in the last 2 years, there has been transformation. I need to admit that the government banks have transformed themselves. They have been come forth to providing loans on unsecured basis. I have myself raised, for companies that I've invested and raised about 2-3 crores of funds on unsecured collateral, without collateral for those companies.
So for collateral free, you need collateral.
The best part is that
initial years.
when you take money from banks, you need a collateral. But when you fund money to banks, you don't need a collateral. Banks do not provide any collateral for getting.
The collateral fee, you need a collateral.
The end part is that are these companies being able to take those loans to grow in a much faster pace? That's what we need to address. I would like to point out on a very interesting initiative, right? Outside of all these subjects of industrialization. Well, a couple of things. Number one, I was talking to somebody about a couple of months back, a large fund manager coming from New York. I was telling him that scene in India is changing quite a lot. He visited in India about 7-8 years ago. Now he's back again in India. I was telling him that you travel down the roads of downtown of New York. It's something totally different, right? Now when you have to travel from Porur to Siriseri, how long would it take? Probably 2.5 hours. Porur to Siriseri today, in one end of the city to the other. Probably in about 3 years' time, it's not going to take anything more than 1 hour. Now, how do you compare that infrastructure with the infrastructure in London and New York? You don't need to be very rosy. You don't need to have beautiful paintings, pictures. But so long as you're able to travel from Porur to Siriseri in about 1 hour's time, have you not done the job? And let me tell you something very interesting. It's not about just creating the infrastructure. Let me tell you some very important principles of economics. The large part of Indian economics does not lie in cities. It is still in villages and towns. So what are you doing for those villages and towns? In this over here, interesting initiative of the government of Tamil Nadu. See, there's something that I always talk about: temple economics, right? In India, go to any states of India, from Kashmir. I have traveled widely across India, from Kashmir to Tamil Nadu. Tell me one state which has got temple in every single village, and those temples should be not ones that we have constructed in the last 100 or 200 years, but those should be temples that should have been in existence for the last several thousands of years. Right? Go down to the villages of Tamil Nadu. Thousands and thousands of such temples, which are thousands of years old, right? Now, what are we doing to them? Here is the initiative that was launched by the government of India. It is allocated a smaller amount of budget. Probably it can be more. Now, what a transformation economics it can be when we are putting a better infrastructure in our own Tiruvannamalai, in our own Srirangam, in our own Pazhani, in our own Tiruchendur, right? I was in Greece about a couple of years ago. And there was a gentleman who came and showed up the places around Greece, right? And he pointed to a particular building and he was exasperated, was so excited to tell me, you know what, that building is, we are looking at him, he said, 500 years old. We are Indians standing around, right? People from Tamil Nadu just looked at ourselves, smiled at each other. Talking about building that is 500 years old and says that one of the oldest buildings in Greece. And we have our temple in Tanjavur. How many years old, right? We have a temple in Srirangam and, Kanchipuram. Right? How many thousands of years old they are. But have we explored that? Have we opened up to the world at large? Switzerland is not even probably not more larger than Tamil Nadu. Probably about half of the size of, probably less than that, right? 1/3 of the size of Tamil Nadu. Population of probably 1 in 20th, 1 in 50th of India. But GDP of about 5 times more than India. Why is that? How does it happen? It happens because of tourism. Now, if we can promote tourism in Tamil Nadu, can't Tamil Nadu be about 5x of what it is today?
We are heading towards
this part of tourism is that when you have to build infrastructure, we need funding, cost of funding. You need cost of funding. You need manufacturing, machinery setup, people to work. But when you need to promote tourism, do you need to create something? You don't need to create something because it is already out there. What do you need to do? Just open up and show it to the world outside. As a result of that, one of the tourism, interestingly, is one of the industries where the margins is at its highest across manufacturing. Gentleman talked about AI. real estate, you have to build a property to sell, right? You don't need to build anything to sell. It's already out there. Just need to go open up and showcase well. Then what's the margins? For somebody who is showing up Madurai temple, what's the margin is enjoying? What is earning is the margin.
Legacy is what they enjoy.
That's about it, right? So this is the highest margin industry. Then can we not savor that industry? Can we not use it as a ploy to build Tamil Nadu as some large, phenomenal state towards building towards $1 trillion economy, not in India, but in Tamil Nadu? I think we are on its way, marching it towards the way forward.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So I'll come to Mr. Neeraj. So since you're into audio equipment space, so could you throw some light in terms of the semiconductor policy or any other policy in line of your industry, and specifically your industry, how do you look at, keeping in mind we are one of the pioneers or leaders in electronics and other manufacturing. Most of it we export. So
yeah. So I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a story behind this. 3.5-4 months back, we had written a letter to the Guinness Book of World Record, stating that we have developed something called as India's thinnest radio. So after a week, this gentleman called us back, and they were supposed to have a 15 minutes conversation with us to check if this is actually true with the photos and videos. So in this conversation, the first thing he told me is that generally when we get a request from India, it's more like one bike has got 16 people sitting on top of it. This is the record they ask for. And one car which has 36 people sitting in. This is the record they ask for. This is the first time that they had experienced something not only on technology, but on something called an innovation. So this was a pride moment for me that, this is something that we have applied for. Now, with this being said, when with all these tech coming in place, we were depending on countries like Taiwan. China still doesn't have the capability that we are looking for because it's specialty audio tech, right? And only 2 countries, either Taiwan or Korea, has got these type of semiconductors. Now, when I know the fact that Tamil Nadu government is investing and giving so much leverage over the audio space towards the semiconductor base, sky is the limit. You have no idea the amount of innovation we Indian, or especially South Indians, have. We are depending on countries like China, Taiwan and Korea. So we end up giving our knowledge there, and they develop it and spread it in the world it's like made in China. The day this starts, the day this promotes, China will no longer be the superpower because the innovation would die down there, and we would be the number one.
Thank you, Neeraj. I think when you say talk about the semiconductor, the policy, I think this 2,000 crore city or separate infrastructure, what they're coming up, they are coming up with a good R&D facility. In fact, in the 2,000 crore facility, where they're trying to build an ecosystem, like how we have a gift city and stuff. We are trying to build a same ecosystem in Tamil Nadu, where everything will be interconnected, and the key is basically idea to implementation. How fast entrepreneurs in Tamil Nadu are able to bring their ideas and execute, and we are just trying to build that ecosystem so that we have more patents or more technology oriented growth is what I think we are looking at.
This is much better, and I think this R&D department is going to not only help audio brands, it's also going to help real estate. There's a new tech coming out where for real estate, where these conductors would deduct how many people passed by, and according to that they will decide the properties rates. And this also helps the AI aspect.
Correct.
It creates not the technical part, which is little tough, but the hardware is the most toughest part, which Tamil Nadu is solving right
normally now. What they say is AI will not take out the jobs. People who don't use the AI will go out of job. So it's very true. So when you talk about technology, I think let's move to Selva. In terms of technology, in terms of artificial intelligence, I think we have come long way, where it's not just coding or it's just one touch available on the phone. In fact, for this meeting, if you want to draft even a session, that will be there. Even for this session, draft 10 questions, it becomes very easy. But in the end, how we use the AI or technology and leverage and take things forward, I think throw some inputs where Tamil Nadu is working on in terms of technology and AI, and how we are going to leverage, and what we say, how can we catch up the bus compared to other states? That's what my question is.
Okay. So the answer is it's not just catching up the bus. We are already in the rocket. Basically, Tamil Nadu is already inside the rocket. Yeah, because reason being, Tamil Nadu is the first state in India to come out with a comprehensive AI policy. Basically, so to answer your question, whether AI is gonna take jobs or something, and as he has his own story, so I can tell my own story in a couple of minutes. So being a chartered accountant, it's been 7 years of my experience and almost like 15 years of industry experience. So I was working for World Bank, and I was in Washington DC. Always my thought process was like, why I'm doing a mundane job, why I'm doing this brainless job, why a chartered accountant is necessary to do all these jobs. So when I came back to India, I started my own company, and it's been 7 years. And day before yesterday night, 12 p.m., we launched our first bot called GST bot. So it can do audit, compliance, filing. It can do everything. Yesterday we gave it to like 4 or 5 chartered accountants to test it, and they were like, the first question was like, what's gonna our boy is gonna do, meaning in our audit firm, because
he would have got a fear whether he will lose his job. Auditor would have.
Yeah, so my boys were like, I gave it to them for testing for me. I have a GST team of like 6 members. Yeah, so they tested and came back and said, like, sir, it's working really good. And I was like, why you guys are sad? Sir, இப்போ நாங்கள் என்ன பண்ண போகிறோம்? I was like, okay, பயப்படாதீங்க. So now your part is more of lateral thinking. So AI is just a robotic thing, or lateral thinking, or interpretation. So அதுதான் இப்போ உங்களோட வேலையாக இருக்கணும். You have to think beyond. You have to think out of the box. So we are planning for 4 or 5 bots, upcoming office bots, IA bot, நிறைய bots, Tesla மாதிரி நிறைய bots release பண்ண போகிறோம் நாங்கள். So I'm very, very happy being sitting in Tamil Nadu and doing all these things, to bring proud to our land, like, Zoho, because I love Zoho, because reason being, though he has gone beyond, continents, still he's having that hold on having his office in Tamil Nadu and making Tamil Nadu as one of the proud, looking all the countries. I was in Dubai recently. In a business meeting, a guy was some Philippines guy. He's a Zoho partner. So I just went and sat, and he was asking, like, he was talking, he was trying to sell Zoho to me. Okay, he doesn't know that somehow he understand. I thought, okay, are you from India? I was like, yeah, I'm from India. Please don't tell me you are from Chennai. I was like, I am from Chennai. Because he's Zoho and the Engovodu. I was like, oh my god. So that's a proud moment for me. So when I said, I'm from Chennai, I'm from Tamil Nadu. So I think AI, it's not going to replace everyone. It's, in fact, to be frank, it's going to boost a lot of companies, job opportunities. It's going to increase a lot of efficiency, whereby a guy who was running one business, let's say he has one outlet or one branch, he's going to open 10 branches because of AI. It's going to increase their business. So I think we should come out of the myth. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Selva. So I think short of time, I'll just close with one last question with Mr. Sanjay. Then we'll close the session. I think we have Satya and other speakers as well for the next session. My question, Sanjay, is in terms of rate reduction, in terms of property taxes, or in terms of stamp duty. So in your sector, how do you think there are many representation made in terms of bringing the industry average rates of taxes? So some pointers on the taxation part, where you feel the infra could get even more boom. You feel any
so
pointers?
What has happened in the current budget is that the government has brought the registration charges down by 1%, but they have restricted it to a 10 lakh buyout if a lady or a woman is buying a property. I wish that could get extended to a larger audience, and maybe the higher limit, because today when you buy a property, whether it is a piece of land, plot of land, or a built property which is a home, the values are much higher. So when you have a higher value, the stamp duty automatically on the composite system, because earlier we had a undivided share of land at say 9% and the construction agreement at 2%. It was divided. Today we have a system where you composite register, so you do the land and the building together. So at 9%, so if your property value is 1 crore, you want to spend almost 9 lakh of rupees on the registration part, right? Stamp duty registration. So that is what is the ask. If that could be looked at rationally to bring it down, it will bring in a lot more people today who are fence sitters to buy the real estate.
Okay.
So I think that is where I would put that.
Okay. So it's a fix in our case where a lot of people are getting moved to new tax regime.
Yeah.
So it's no more buying a house in wife and husband.
Yeah, you could get the
so it's
tax
a
benefits.
tax benefit jointly. So
Correct,
it's no more
correct,
that
correct.
way now. Okay. So thank you, Mr. Sanjay, for
Thank you.
and thanks to all the panelists for throwing some lights on the budget. So I think we'll meet in the next year's budget and we'll see how things are falling in place. So I'll call for the second budget session.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, before closing the session, I would request our convener, Mr. C. Amrith Lal, to honor our speakers with shawl and book actually. Please give a big hands to all the speakers. So to honor our convener and moderator, I would request Mr. Uday Kumar from Indian Express to honor our